But joining us now, our leader from Wellington is Councillor Tony Randle. Tony, you actually in the studio in Wellington, are you?
I'm in the office, yes. I'm not in the studio with you guys, but I'm in the office here.
In Wellington?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I see. So you're in the, your own office or in the Wellington City Council office or where?
City Council offices, really, yeah.
Okay. Did they give you your own did they give you your own office? There's a question.
No, we've got a bit of a shared spaces thing, like, we've got a set of shared desks, and we've got a couple of rooms we can jump into, and I'm in one of those. So, no, we have no offices. I think sometimes the offices don't want us to come in. It's not very flash at all, but that's fine. It does the job.
Yep. Okay, that's right. Listen, you've just recently got a pay rise now. I think as a result, I'm pretty sure I saw something flash across my email too. What's the average Wellington City Councillor earn now, Tony?
Oh, well, actually, I haven't looked up the new pay rise. I've been too busy with other stuff. It was 106,000 for basic city councillor, and the mayor and deputy mayor and some others get more than that, of course. But yeah, I've got nothing special, so I'm on the base salary,
which is 105 or 106,000. Okay, here's the question.
Yes.
That's a lot of money in one sense, and not in another. Can you actually have a full-time job and be a Wellington City Councillor as well?
Well, I don't think you can do the Wellington City Councillor job and have a full-time or even a significant, even a half-time job. I mean, it's pretty full-on. And if you're going to do your job, we're essentially, directors of a billion-dollar enterprise, and it takes. And also, we've also one of the main connectors between the community and the council. And so, if you're not spending half your time out in the community, then I don't think you're doing a job. But there are councillors who do have part-time jobs and other things, and they seem to manage. There isn't actually. It's a strange job because there's no performance review. So if you're not doing a job, no one's going to come and knock on your door saying you're out.
Well, they do. It's called an election every 3 years.
That's right. Yes, and that's next year for me and the rest of the councillors.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, for me too. No, I was just thinking the strange thing is that Wellington, you pay $105,000. Mackenzie, oh God, probably about $25,000. Central Otago, about the same. And yet you all do roughly the same job, don't you? You've got your long-term plans to go through, you've got your meetings to go, you've got your consultation, all the government's putting new stuff on you all the time. And yet you all roughly do, elected councillors in New Zealand, the same job. But you're paid more, and I guess in Auckland paid even much more, just because you've got more people living in your area. But it doesn't mean to say that you're actually doing more work, does it?
No, that's true. And I think some of the smaller councils have some of the biggest problems. I mean, there's an advantage in being a very large organisation where we can have specialist lawyers and such like. But I know, like, we talk about water infrastructure very regularly at council, and some of the biggest problems are the water infrastructure problems facing small councils around the region, including in your region.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And as you say, that they are likely to have more of the complex problems because they don't have the infrastructure that the bigger councils do, particularly around water, actually. Although, having said that, there you are. You've got this wonderful water entity, very commercial, very corporate. It's doing a bloody crap job, isn't it?
Well, I guess you can scale everything, including being able to waste money. That's a bit disingenuous, really. But look, it's these very big enterprises, and this is where I will say, you do need more time. Getting a handle around a very big enterprise, which has got layers of offices between you and the actual work, and you're facing communication specialists and that sort of stuff. It is harder work trying to understand what's happening in a big business compared to a small one where you can go and sit down with the guy who actually runs the contracts. I can't do that. I've got to work through service desks and incident call tickets and all that sort of stuff to get information. So, and you do that, but it is hard work, and like working with a government enterprise, really.
Yeah, it's interesting you should say that. All I can say is when I was mayor, but I also know that in my own council now, if you've got an open chief executive, somebody that says, no, of course, you're a councillor, go and talk to, my water manager or something like that. Yeah, just set up appointment. There's no problems at all. Then that's an easy form of communication. You've obviously don't have that sort of relationship.
No, we've forgot. No, in fact, we've been told recently, we went to a meeting around the Courtenay Place business people who were very concerned and essentially turned up and the officers were essentially told off by officers later on saying that they wanted a senior manager there when we go and turn up at these meetings. And, I just think that's quite bizarre that, we were invited to a meeting and it makes a difference. Apparently we've got to tell senior management when we're going to meetings where other officers are turning up. It's a little more of a controlled environment, if you like, in Wellington City.
Your chief executive, are they just another corporate nerd, or are they somebody that you find warm and friendly and accommodating, and my door's always open to you, Tony?
I think different chief executives, as you pointed out, can be different, and they make an enormous difference.
They do.
Their view. And it's quite, I've worked for very large departments where I've never met the chief executive, but you can still feel their influence in terms of either being risk averse or being open or to new ideas. That's what makes a difference. I've only experienced at the City Council, the Barbara McHero, who's our current chief executive. She's decided not to extend her contract, so we're actually literally today starting the process of looking at getting a new chief executive, which is going to be an interesting exercise.
Now, you've got a weird system in local government, haven't you? You appoint your chief executive for 5 years, but you can give them automatically another 2 years, or alternatively, you can go out into the market again after 5 years and see who is standing again, but the chief executive who is still there could apply for that job, and it's an odd system, really, isn't it?
Yes, well, government gets very process-bound, and they've got rules for rules, it seems. And that's one of those sort of rules. I think 5 years is, you need a chief executive who's going to be there for a while, because it takes a while for them to have their influence. And so, I don't know, it's a system that I've inherited, so I know no other. And I just got to try and make it work. A lot of being a good councillor is making the system you've got work, whatever the circumstances.
Fair enough. And it's an odd thing too, because just to explain to listeners, the councils or the councillors, people like Tony and his councillors, they actually only have one employee, and that's the chief executive. And then there is this weird system where every other employee who's employed by the Wellington City Council or its derivatives is actually employed by the chief executive. And so although you've got a chief executive that belongs theoretically to you and is accountable to you, none of the other staff are. And you can't get to those other staff, Tony, as you say, except through the chief executive, who ends up in many cases as some sort of minor potentate. Hello?
Hello? Sorry, there?
Are you there? Yes,
there?
I'm here.
Oh,
we
had a bit of a dropout there. I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, right. So I'll repeat that again. Okay.
I got most of that. You're right, and it's actually even more bizarre than that, because as a council, for example, we do building consents, and the way that the legal thing works is that the council delegates to the chief executive the right to issue a building consent, and then she delegates it down the chain to the inspector, who goes and issues the building consent. So it all the stuff flows through the chief executive. Chief executive in the council is an incredibly important and powerful position, and it means you've got to get the right person. It's so important.